This podcast is a part of the Podmania Podcasting Network. Check out podmania.co.uk to check out more of our great podcasts, features, reviews, match ratings and previews spanning the crazy and diverse world of professional wrestling. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the Stardom Cast, your now weekly audio source for all things world wondering Stardom right here on the Podmania Podcasting Network. I am your host, Rob Goodwin, and I am joined as ever by Chris O'Brien. Chris, how the devil are you doing?
I have a lot of DVDs very suddenly, and I don't know how it happened.
You have certainly been diving into the film train. Like, I've never known, for someone who has never seen any film ever, to the point where it's become a running joke, I don't understand where this sudden love of film has come from.
Well, I think I started watching films, and it's like, oh, films are okay.
This medium's alright that people have been going on about since the late 60s.
Yeah, I think it's just something, I think it's because it's like, there's very little to be excited about right now. Like, I have fucking the government emailing me going, why don't you have a job? And I'm like, well, there's no jobs. And apparently that's not a valid excuse. But, you know, so I was like, oh, that's something to be excited about. And it's very cheap. Like, I got everything on my shelf for less than a tenner, which is incredible. And also I've watched 61 films either the first time or the first time in 5 years this year.
I'm so proud of you. You're expanding your horizons, and that makes me happy.
You won't be happy because I've been ranking them in Jurassic Park's 52nd.
Out of 67?
Yeah, no, well, 61, sorry.
It's 57th out of 61?
52nd.
Out of 61?
Yeah. You're not going to be happy with some of the stuff beating it, too. Pitch Perfect 2 and 3 are beating it. Sonic the Hedgehog is beating it.
The new one?
What, the new Sonic the Hedgehog as opposed to the old Sonic the Hedgehog?
Don't you dare mock me when you've put Sonic the fucking Hedgehog above Jurassic Park.
Let me explain. Jurassic the Park is very, very
Jurassic the Park.
It's very much a family movie, right? A family kids movie that you either needed to be around for during the time or a kid to see it. Because quite frankly, unless the T-Rex was on screen, I was very bored. Because Alan was meant to be like warming up to like these little children, and you know what? Two things. One, I kind of wanted the children to die. They were very fucking annoying. Two, fucking he acted towards those children like fucking Jack Nicholson did in The Shining, which incidentally is 12th on the list. And yeah, I'm not a fan at all, quite frankly. Jeff Goldblum and the T-Rex are the only things that save this. Must be humor about giant mounds of shit.
Ladies and gentlemen who are listening to the podcast, you will suddenly become very, very, very aware of why Chris doesn't watch films, because he comes out with fucking monstrosities like this.
Hey, there's some classics in my top 10. Silence of the Lambs, my favourite. There's Fight Club. Coco made me cry. Alien made me terrified. Pulp Fiction. I finally get the references.
I remember watching it for the first time and then thinking, that's where the Call Direct adverts come from. Not the Call Direct, the car insurance advert. What's it called?
Yeah, 118, 118.
No, the Direct Line.
Because I got very confused because when I was like 15, my brother bought me a wallet for Christmas and it said "bad motherfucker" on it, and I was like, well, where did you get this? And then it's like, oh, now I get it. I now know where the GIMP comes from. I now every time I drink coffee in the morning say that's some gourmet shit. It's great.
What the fuck do you mean? I know that's where the GIMP comes from. That's not where all GIMPs originated from.
I know, but people, have you ever watched Community?
No.
You should. It's very funny. But there's this in the episode, there's like in the series, there's like a Pulp Fiction homage, like Abed, who's really into films. They film from a Pulp Fiction party, and Pierce, the old guy played by Chevy Chase, is dressed as a gimp. And I'm like, well, why is he dressed as a gimp? Now it makes sense.
Chris, I'm going to quickly just stop you there. Pitch Perfect 1.
Oh, Pitch Perfect.
I'm not even going to say it's okay, because you've completely smashed every single film ranking system that I can possibly wrap my teeny tiny head around by ranking both not only Pitch Perfect 1, but Pitch fucking Perfect 2 above Jurassic Park, which makes no logical sense.
Actually, it's Pitch Perfect 2 and Pitch Perfect 3 above Jurassic. But fairly, Pitch Perfect 2 is 36, and Pitch Perfect 3 is 43.
I've never been so sure of someone being wrong about life in my entire life. Honestly, you make me sad.
Because I didn't like Jurassic Park?
No, because of... Do you know what? We're not going to get into this now. I'm not going to rise to it, Chris. You're wrong. No, I'm afraid you're going to have to deal with it.
I know exactly what you're going to do. When you do a watch along on Thursday, you're just going to drag Garth into it.
I'm not going to drag Garth into it because I'm genuinely worried Garth is going to kill you.
No, that's the thing, because I sent you both this list, and I was very much, I very much knew you didn't click on the link because neither of you were mad about where I put Jurassic Park.
I honestly don't know how to come back to half the shit you're spouting, so I'm not going to bother.
I did find out that both you and Garth fancy Emma Stone this week, yesterday actually, because I was watching Amazing Spider-Man, which is number 23 on the list. And
what? Oh my god! Oh!
Okay.
Oh, you need to stop talking. You need to stop talking now, because a Sunday night is not a time for me to be this angry.
Are you actually legit? Like, I expected Garth to get angry. I didn't expect... To be fair, Garth's probably happy with how far at Clerks is. Clerks is 16.
Anyway, because I can't carry on with this conversation. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, as we said last week, we are going to go weekly, at least for the foreseeable, with the Tag League and looking at Stardom's calendar for the next couple of weeks. There are enough shows for us to sustain doing a weekly podcast based around Stardom. Again, depends completely on uploads and things like that. So if the uploads mean that we can't do it on a Sunday, which is when we're going to ordinarily record them and put them out, then we'll either let you know on the podcast, or we'll let you know via Twitter or Discord that it will be a different day. Because, you know, if a Korakuen show is a Wednesday and it isn't finished uploading by the Sunday, then I'd rather wait the extra day and actually get all of the matches in. So you might have to bear with us, but ordinarily it'll be out on a Sunday at 11 o'clock British Standard Time. Anyway, we are in the midst of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. At the moment of the time recording, it's 8:20 on the 18th of October. I know that Nights 3 and Nights 4 have happened, but obviously they aren't up on Stardom World yet. However, we all need to thank Mayu, because Mayu has managed to push her match onto Stardom World, because apparently that was going to take a little bit of time, and she pushed the match between her and, let me get this right, Takumi Iroha.
Takumi Ihara, yeah.
No, Takumi Iroha. Apparently, a couple of people...
I've been saying it wrong since fucking February.
So, Velkij on our Discord said, "Oh, lovely podcast episode." But it's Iroha, not Ihora. And we must have said it last podcast about 19 times.
It's fucking... No one felt the need to point this out since February. I have mentioned that match on every podcast since February.
I know. I read it and I was like, oh, actually, yeah, it is spell Iroha. Anyway, that match is on Stardom World now, but none of the others from Night 3 or Night 4 are up, so we won't be reviewing them. We'll be saving those for next week's episode. Today, we are focusing just on Night 1 and Night 2. Night 1 from Osaka and then Night 2 from Tokyo. But first, before we start that, Chris, I want to talk... There's some non-Stardom news that I want to sort of intersperse throughout the podcast, and then I want to bring back to right at the very end of the show. there are some shows that have been added to the Stardom calendar very, very quickly. This was from, I've actually stolen this from Niagara Driver's Twitter, so thank you, Niagara Driver. I meant to mention this last week, actually. Stardom is going to be running the brand new Mutsu City Gym on the 28th of November, which is looking a similar size, maybe smaller than the Yokohama Budokan. And then that's on top of the big venue shows in Sendai on the 15th of November, which is Sendai Cinderella, and then Osaka on the 20th of December. The current holding date for the year-end climax, at the time of recording again, is Boxing Day. That's when the year-end climax should be. Whether it is depends very much on the pandemic, but at the moment it is the 26th of December. Chris, I wanted to bring up the PWI rankings for the PWI magazine released their top. Is it top 500? It's top 500, isn't it? Or is it top 100? Top 100.
I think we do a top 100 and then put 500. And I don't know. I only ever see it because people are mad, and then I get very confused about how they rank it because it never seems to be very consistent.
Well, that was what I wanted to just chat with you. So, someone very kindly has edited out so that we've just got the Japanese contingent, or people that wrestle in Japan for different companies, onto a list. Now, I just want to tell you where some of these are, and then you can sort of pick it apart, Chris. So, number 8 on the list is Rio, or Riho. Keep calling her Rio. Riho. Number 9 is Io Shirai. Number 10 is Mayu. You've got Momo Watanabe at 28, B. Priestley at 37, Jamie Hayter at 47, Julia is way back in 54th, Utami 65th, Layla Hirsch down at 70, Siori at 78, and then Session Moth Martina at 82.
Yes, she made it. Okay, so in terms of like this, I think they're basing it from June last year, like around this time last year to around this time now. I think is how they're doing it.
I can't remember the exact dates, but I know that it does run through till September of this year.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of makes sense because some people like Shuri didn't really do anything, didn't really turn up and start getting pushed properly until fairly recently. Layla Hirsch, from what I understand, she does a lot on the like smaller, well not smaller, but like mid-tier American indies. Like she does like Christ, where was it? It doesn't really matter.
She's wrestled for Tokyo Cyber Squad. I'm sure she has.
Yeah,
we've covered her on this podcast.
She has. She was at the she was in the tag match where she's the one who got pinned, and then Hannah said, "You think you're cool by pinning my bodyguard?"
Yeah, I do remember that. It was earlier on in the year, anyway.
Yeah. So I don't know, but this makes more sense than the PWI normally does. They are very slanted and very easily coerced. Like for example, Hulk Hogan and the Nasty Boys were very high up in 1994 because PWI had an agreement with WCW.
Yeah, had a big hard on for Hulk Hogan, didn't they? And WCW in general.
And his pasta.
Did you have you ever tried any Hulk Hogan pasta?
Does it exist?
Well, Pasta Mania once existed. I was just wondering if they sell any or anything like that. Scotland seems to be a place where if it exists, it would be sold in Scotland.
If it exists in Scotland, you can find it for a tenner somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't seem to exist anymore.
There's a reason for that.
Did we see eBay find of a day? Oh, it's a Pasta Mania shirt, not pasta. Then again, does pasta? No, pasta. Presumably it goes off, but it's very dry.
I don't know. I know that it didn't last long. Like I remember it. I remember it appearing on one episode of Nitro, and then just nothing ever again.
So yes, apparently it's technically safe to eat dried pasta after its expiration date.
There you go. Food advice with the Stardom cast.
You need to save all you can nowadays. Like you say, capitalism is great. Okay, so where was Mayu again?
Mayu was 10th.
10th. That's really good. That's for someone outside of like a mainstream. Well, Stardom's more mainstream than people are on. To be honest, Stardom probably is in the mainstream in terms of wrestling terms as Impact is nowadays. But That's good for like a non-American talent in these PWI rankings.
I could be wrong, but from what I remember of, obviously the list I'm looking at the moment is the edited one, but from what I remember, she is the only one from 1 to 10 who is not either from WWE or AEW.
But that makes perfect sense, to be fair. Didn't Jordan Grace get quite high?
I can't remember. I imagine she was relatively high, yes.
PWI.
Are you going to look it up? I think the
Yeah,
main thing that
if you'd have
people
told
were...
me, I'd had... Okay, top 2020 sort of. Published August. Okay, that's not the right one. Fuck's sake. There we go. Bailey's top. Bailey's number 1.
Makes sense. She's held the championship for over a year.
Hang on, let's see. How do they do this? On championships 1, quality of opposition, technical... So it's kayfabe. Win-loss record, overall activity, and momentum. So, like, it's... Kayfabe, I'm getting so many fucking adverts. No, I don't want to make a penis bigger. It's perfectly adequate. Okay. Close. It won't close. Right, so number 1's Bailey, then it's Becky, then Asuka, Charlotte, Banks, Shida, Tessa Blanchard, 7th. Riho's 8th, Shirai's 9th. Okay, Grace is 19th.
There you go.
How the fuck did Kimberly get so high? What the fuck has she done?
I think the main issue from what I've seen on Twitter seems to be how high Riho is compared to how high Mayu is.
Rio was AEW Women's Champion. That's more. They're going to see in terms of quality, if they're taking quality of opponent in, and also she's going to be wrestling a bit more because she's a freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so she wrestles fucking everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, to reach top 10 in this sort of list where you haven't got the exposure of a WWE or an AEW, that's really, really, really good. And it pays testament to just how good a year Mayu's actually had.
Yeah, all of her title defenses all of them bar Saki have been must-see. And that's not being mean to Saki, but like the main bit of that was May finally got to fall down every single Korakuen step, which I feel like she's been wanting to do since.
It wouldn't surprise me if that has been a dream of hers for many, many years.
She just doesn't enjoy. Like, it's like how Ishii isn't happy that other people have necks. She's
because he doesn't have one.
Yeah, why do you think he fucking lariats people so hard?
Just loves it, doesn't he, Big Tom?
Yeah, he's in it for the art.
So moving on from that, I just wanted to get your thoughts, really, basically, Chris. I thought, to be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, it seems fair. Even though Riho didn't. I mean, she wrestled a bit for AEW, and then once the pandemic hit, obviously she hasn't been able to, and she's been depending on freelance work in Japan. But she was the first winner of the belt, the women's belt in AEW, which is at the moment the second biggest wrestling company in America, and certainly at the moment top 5 in the world. So, you know, she's obviously going to be relatively high. Taking it as a personal thing, I would love Mayu to be top 3, but, you know, she's not going to be. She doesn't have the exposure of a Becky Lynch or a Bayley or a Charlotte, does she? So she's not going to be that high up. Moving on from the PWI top 100 women, we made a massive faux pas in the last podcast. Aside from mispronouncing names, we also ballsed up the schedule for the Tag League. Because apparently...
You're the stats guy. You ballsed it up. I just went along with it.
I know, because apparently Stardom can't do something simply. So, ordinarily, if a tournament is split into 2 blocks, you would assume that everyone in each block would fight the people in their blocks. But no. Apparently, in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, this is straight from the English Stardom account. In the Goddess of Stardom Tag League 2020, each team will face all the teams in the other block. So the Red Goddesses team do not face teams in the Red Goddess block. They face all the Blue Goddess teams. And then, obviously, the same for the blue. And then the teams with the most points in each block go on to the final. Why? That's so unnecessarily complicated.
That's so confusing.
You don't understand why.
You get the same amount of matches as well.
Exactly. It doesn't serve any purpose.
Why do I feel that's what happened last year and I just didn't notice?
I don't know. I wasn't watching last year. So at least I have that excuse. You don't have an excuse.
I didn't pay close attention to Tag League because New Japan's burned me one too many times.
So yeah, what we'll do is, once we get to the end of these 2 days, we'll reassess what we said at the end of the last podcast and sort of give a sort of adjusted preview of who we think is going to win, who's going to be the final, things like that. Now that we know that each team isn't going to be facing the same block because, unnecessarily complicated. Anywho, let's move on to what we are here to review. So we're here to review the first 2 nights of the Stardom Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. We'll start with night 1, obviously. Seems a pretty good place to start. From the 10th...
If we're doing the Stardom way, we'd start with day 2, but then also review day 1 as we go along.
Start with all the death matches. So we're going to start with night 1 from the 10th of October. Osaka, Japan, Edion Arena, Osaka 2, in front of 283 people. We started with the opening ceremony and then moved on to a singles match with Saki Kashima defeating Mina Shirakawa at 6 minutes and 35 seconds with My Emblem. Chris, what did you think of this match?
This was fine. Saki's she's a good measuring stick for someone. Because you're not going to have a bad match with Saki. You're not going to have a great one, but if you sting it up with Saki, you're probably doing something wrong. It's like X-Pac back in the day. But my first note here is new girl a jobber now. Because I did forget her name. But
Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah, I forgot Shirakawa's name. But I was like, is she a jobber? Because she's losing to Saki.
It's very strange. And I'll talk a little bit more about where we find...
Fist, but didn't, none of the strikes looked amazing, but they all landed well enough.
We'll talk a little bit about where we think Mina is after the tag match of night 2. But I do agree with you. It was very strange to see Saki get the win over Mina here in preparation for their tag league match. Yeah. I agree. Her moves were okay. There's nothing that stands out glaringly as horrendously bad, but there were moments where she was noticeably behind Saki.
I wasn't massive on that pendulum.
I enjoyed the reversal out of the My Emblem into the pendulum submission. I don't think she got all of it, and I think she sort of... I don't know. It looked a little bit strange, but I enjoyed the reversal out of it. And it's nice to see that she's trying stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not familiar with her work outside of Stardom, so I've got no idea whatsoever if this is a thing she does regularly. Like I said, there was just a couple of things that didn't quite click. There was a face crusher, which Saki hit, which Mina took all of, right in the face, which also led to one of the closest 2 counts I think I've ever seen in my entire life, taking out of account the G1 final from today, which had 2 of the most ridiculously close counts I've ever seen. But I'm just happy, Chris, that we get an Iida time match with a fucking finish.
Who'd ever thought we'd see the day of where we have 2 Iida time match, 3, and 2 of them have a finish?
Well, Chris...
yes.
I rated this 4. There's not a lot that we can say about it otherwise.
Yeah.
Speaking of Iida time matches with a finish, we move on to match 2.
This is what I needed after the 5-star. After that 5-star, this is what I needed.
I know.
Was more Natsuko Tora singles matches on a tag league show.
Match 2, Himeka defeats Natsuko Tora at 7 minutes and 2 seconds via... disqualification because fuck's sake.
At a certain point, human resources have to step in. This is an unsafe working environment.
When she comes to the ring every time with a chain, you'd assume someone would point it out. She's going to hit someone with that.
It's not just that. Is the referee deaf because the chain is so loud?
I was going to point that out. The sound of that fucking chain in every Iida time match, not even just Tora's. It was in the Black Widows match later on the night. It's going to haunt my nightmares, just that chain everywhere. every single match. It makes no fucking sense. Absolutely no fucking sense. It annoyed me even more because
nightmares.
Yeah, because it annoyed me even more because up to that point, this was actually a decent match.
Yeah, it was a house match. It was great. Like I actually put that in a note in finishing remarks of the match. It's like, this is like any Toro match. She shows glimpses of being great, and then the chain comes out.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the fact that she's trying to be inventive with it. So she used it to get out of the running powerbomb. I like that. That was cool. But I'm just fuck this finish, dude. It's every single fucking match, because if that's the finish, she gets out of the powerbomb, then just continues to strangle Himika. Fine. I mean, it's not fine, but, why do we then have to have another fucking hanging spot? I mean, I don't care if I don't see one of those ever again.
The question, does she even do a hanging spot in the no DQ match? Because I can't remember there being...
I can't remember. Also, something that really wound me up. Saki's interfering in the match. Micah is ringside. Fucking stop her!
She has matches coming up. She needs to save her energy.
I've actually written here, I can hear that rattling of the chain, my fucking nightmares now. The only good thing about this match is that Himika has graduated to wearing a robe like the rest of Donna Del Mondo now. It's taken her to...
the 5-star was like sorority initiation. It's like fucking 22 Jump Street. It's like, here you go.
Exactly. You've come second. You haven't quite won, so here, have a robe. There's just Natsa point now to go.
Better than any of us.
Say again?
Yeah, so it's like, you've done better than all of us. You've earned this.
Here, have a robe. But yeah, just completely fucking pointless, because neither woman looked stronger for this finish. Neither woman looked weaker because of this finish. It might as well have just not existed. It was completely and utterly fucking pointless.
You know what? Today, I saw this... It was a really bad meme, right? It was a really bad meme. It was like, in Canada, it's about wrestling. It's like, in Canada, it's family. In Mexico, it's tradition. In Japan, it's a sport. In America, it's a joke. And the guy put above, I watch Japanese wrestling because you don't have any fuck finishes. And I'm like, are you joking me? do you watch? Do you know the history? Have you seen half of this shit? It's like, have you watched an Antonio Inoki match in your whole life?
To be fair, at the moment in Stardom, if it's not DQ, it's a fucking time limit draw.
Time limit draw. Oh, we had another one. Don't get me started. Oh my god.
I know. So I gave it 4 on the premise that it started really well and it was building to something, and then this finish irked me beyond belief. But it's Iida Tai, it's Natsuko Tora. I've said my piece on it, and I'm not going to say it again, because maybe I should, because the more Tora continues to do it, maybe I should continue to moan.
Now that we're weekly, Rob, please, for the love of fucking God, do not.
Oh,
because not only will you lose our listeners, you will lose me, the co-host.
Oh, for fuck's sake, he's moaning about Iida Tai again.
That's going to be in my fucking nightmares.
Anyway, match 3 then. So Sayuri and Natsupoi defeat Tam Nakano and Saya Iida at 10 minutes and 38 seconds with a high kick. I'm not going to lie, Chris, having a really random tag team match during the tag league makes absolutely no sense, and it really irked me.
Off-night tag matches are so weird in a tag league, isn't it?
Like, if it's a 6-woman, that's fine. Like, on night 2, there was a 6-woman, but it makes sense because 4 of the people are going to face off. This made no sense. They're not even teaming together.
At least in this case, like, Saya Iida and The Greatest Showman both need some really good reps. So, like, this is going to help them. There's no real... You don't want them taking singles because neither of them are really there to be beating big names, but they're also not there to be jobbing. So like, this is like, it makes booking sense, but with given what the card is, there's nothing else you could have really done. And this match wasn't bad, like DDM doing Motor City Machine Gun type drop kicks.
Yes.
I mean, to that, Shiri breaking out a fucking Oscar.
Which she pulled off a lot better on this than she did on night 2.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it was a good showcase of the Great Showman. I'm really looking forward to what she's like on the other side of this tournament. On the other side, the other side.
Are you just making as many Greatest Showman references so I have to keep this fucking bit in?
Yes.
Hate you so much. But yeah, it was a good match. I really enjoyed the tag team chemistry that Tam Nakano and Saya Iida had. I really enjoyed.
What a surprising amount, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. I really enjoyed as well what Tam and Syuri had at the end, because the promise of a feud between Syuri and Tam Nakano is, give me that now. That's going to be fucking amazing.
I like how Iida tried to get involved and she just got pushed up away.
Bless her, Saya Iida. Well, it was weird because Natsupoi tried to do it as well. And Natsupoi seemed to have beef with Tam Nakano before the match started. And then it seemed to transition to Tam and Syuri. And Natsupoi and Saya Iida were just like, fuck off.
I forgot to say that fucking opening between Natsupoi and Tam. Oh my god.
The kick reversals. Amazing.
Yeah, a Matrix duck for a kick reversal is so extra, but only Tam could pull it off.
It was incredible. It was a really, really good open. That's half the reason I've given it a 6, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's a 6. It's a really good, really fun match. Better than most of Okada's G1, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Match 4 then, and we finally have our first tag league match.
No, I don't. Okay, so Rio and fucking Pennywise, apparently.
Match 4 sees Color Me Pop, which is now Gokigen Death or Goihen Death, and Rio defeating MK Sisters at 9 minutes and 54 seconds with a roll-up. I mean, for a start, we've got Death, who Stars have put a spell on her. If you take what they say in their pre-match promos, they've put a spell on her to make her more in keeping with the Stars aesthetic. No, because she comes running out full tilt like this childlike nightmare version of a circus clown, veering full tilt around the ring. Just absolute horror show. Absolute horror show. Plus, Chris, before you start, okay, Death got a clean pinfall victory over Mayu, which technically means that Death has a claim to the fucking World of Stardom Championship.
Okay, so several things.
How are you not more annoyed about that?
Because I'm going to build up. You start off slow and you build up. It's a lesson that All Japan never learned. Anyway, yeah. I have a lot of clown jokes, but I'm going to try and spread out over the duration of Tag League. But Mr. Tumble does have a claim to the World of Stardom Championship. I am genuinely scared by Mr. Tumble. Mr. Tumble... You know what? I'm just going to get some of these out of my system. You know what she looked like? She looked like... You know the Simpsons episode, Lisa's First Words?
Yes.
You know the Bart bed that Homer built, the clown bed that Homer built for Bart? She looks like that, and I can't get over it. But like, there's good things in this match. There's some good lucha things between Rio and Kid at the start. Then my notes just start going, oh God, get away from me. Rio is now dancing with the clown. Why does the clown dance? The clown pinned Mayu. What? Yeah. To be fair, it wasn't completely clean. Mayu was caught by surprise. I think if you're going to do that, Rio's the better person to get the win. I guess you're trying to get TCS people as many wins to make them look a bit more as part of Stars. But she doesn't look part of Stars, does she? Does old Death? She looks...
For a start, she's called Death, still.
Yeah.
Not a very Stars name.
I personally think Mr. Tumble is a better name. But yeah, but I just don't... I understand we sort of let Death's new aesthetics take over this whole match, but like, I saw a picture of it on our last recording session on Tuesday, and I kind of thought it's not going to be as distracting as it looks. No, it's exactly as distracting as it looks on paper.
If anything, it is more distracting, to the point where Mayu went for a kick and had to stop because she pissed herself laughing at Death doing this horrible crying clown face. Mayu having the time of her life here.
It's like, although like another Death versus Mayo match would be fun, I doubt, because we're in the same faction, I doubt Death's going to take the route to get the World of Stardom champ. To be honest, I don't think she has any aspirations towards gold. I think she only has aspirations towards hiding in drains and scaring the shit out of children.
Absolutely. I mean, this was just a car crash of a match from start to finish. I mean, you had Mayu not being able to kick Death because it was a proper laugh as well. It wasn't kayfabe. Starlight Kid slipped and fell over, which then made Mayu laugh even harder. They then went for some manner of flamboyance off the top rope where Starlight Kid is supposed to stand on Mayu's shoulders, but Mayu's on the top rope and Starlight Kid runs to the wrong corner of the ring, which then makes Mayu laugh even harder. Mayu spends the entire match pissing herself laughing. It's just, what?
Yeah, she corpsed in this match.
Oh, people ask me, why do you like wrestling? And I have no comeback when there's stuff like this.
Oh, I sent a picture of, there was a point in this match where Rio had Starlight in a hold and Death went underneath Rio's legs, and I just saw Gaff's comment to me considering buying a Pokemon Blu-ray, but she went under and Gaff just put a hell no, because like I can't like I'm looking at it right now and can you move on? Can you? Oh my god!
It was. I gave it 4 because it wasn't a bad match. It was just sheer fucking chaos. And the chaos continues on night 2, which we'll get to in a minute. I'm trying to get my head around the fact that Gokking Death actually has a pinfall victory over the World of Stardom champion, but that's by the by.
You know what gets me even more?
Go on.
It's the little bow. The little bow somehow makes it worse.
So much more offensive.
No, because like I don't know, Death was going to pin Mayo at some point. The amount of pinfall she goes for, it's basically an inevitability. So I kind of just accepted that one day it will happen. I didn't think Death would like haunt my fucking nightmares whilst doing it, but she will, and apparently,
Jesus.
We're gonna get people who like know Death, because apparently she's really well respected pre-Death. Well, she's still respected now, but like she was a really well respected like journeyman before being, because like a lot of her best work was like when no one cared about Joshi. But also, I need to have words because it's literally what I'm here to give.
Yeah,
but I don't have any words.
It's what a gold watch that is. Thank you for your service. Now here, put the fucking clown suit on. Match 5 then saw the Black Widows, which is obviously Bea Priestley and Konami the Dark, versus Aphrodite, ending another 20-minute time limit draw. We couldn't even make it halfway through night 1 of Tag League before we had another fucking time limit draw, Chris.
We'll get into that in a second, but like every time you mention Black Widows or Aphrodites, I think of 2 things I watched recently on Disney Plus. I think of the Avenger who died recently, but is somehow still getting a film, and the Hercules animated series.
Because of Aphrodite.
Aphrodite, and she has her own theme song. It's like Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and it's great, and you should watch it. But like, one thing across the 2 nights which surprised me, and I know it shouldn't surprise me at this point, but Utami's really good in the grapple exchanges.
Really, really good. That's something I've actually got noted for both matches that she's in. She's improved massively in that area, especially over the last like 6 months. I'm going to get this out of the way now, Chris. I know that I haven't written a rating for this one because I don't know how to rate it. I found this match a little bit disappointing, and I don't know if it's because Bea and Konami don't quite have the chemistry yet. I mean, their match on night 2 was a lot better, in my opinion. There was something about this match. There just seemed to be too much. I don't know if it was dead space or there was just something about it that really irked me. I find it very strange that, yes, I know that Bea's been away for a long time. I know that she's back now. She's the SWA World Champion. She's a New Japan alumni. But the big angle coming out of Yokohama Cinderella was Konami turning. And in the 2 matches that Black Widows have had, the emphasis seems to have been very much on Bea Priestley. Now, I don't have an issue with that. I like Bea Priestley. I think she's great. But Konami has just turned. She's just destroyed Tokyo Cyber Squad, which was the most popular faction in Stardom. And it seems to be the B show. And it might not seem like that to others. That's absolutely fine. It might just be me overthinking it, but that's certainly how it seemed, especially on night 2.
The way I'm seeing it 2 ways. One, B works better as for hot tag than Konami does. Konami works a lot better at working people down, and also I think Konami's going to be a bigger focus when she comes across someone from TCS. Like, so far she's had Queen's Quest people which are not being funny, that's B's beef.
Yeah, absolutely, I do get that.
And also on the second night, Mayu and Starlight, and B has a problem with Mayu because, Mayu kind of won the title from her. So.
Well, to be fair, B did try and get her own back by trying to destroy Mayu's neck.
Doesn't everybody? I think it's just it's like pulling out the sword and the stone. It's like you're probably not going to do it, but the first person to break Mayu's neck is going to get a fucking medal or something.
Let's face it, it's one of those things that everyone's tried, no one's succeeded in it.
I'm trying to think what else is like that. What have I tried so many times but never succeeded at?
Gouken Death has never ever hit that thing in the corner first time.
What the fuck? I don't think she's ever actually hit that thing in the corner.
Going back to the match, I can understand, and I know we give Stardom shit, especially recently for their 20-minute time limit draws. This one did sort of make sense. You've got the champions, and who we've both said are contenders to win the tag league. You want to keep both teams strong. I do understand that. This actually makes a little bit of sense. Certainly makes booking sense to make it go the distance.
It makes more sense than Himiko vs. Jungle did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that I don't think they did a lot with the 20 minutes.
No, that's my problem. Like, I'd be fine with this tournament being one with lots of draws if the time limit wasn't 20 minutes. Like, I know I said the same thing in the 5-star, but it holds up more here because for the most part, the draws in the 5-star were really good. Whereas here, this draw was there's a fair bit of time where I just didn't care, and things were happening, but things that happened, they didn't feel impactful because they were clearly drawing shit out until they can get to their draw. And I didn't feel there was enough interplay between Queen's Quest and B because there should definitely still be beef there.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know her beef's more with Momo, but even so, she turned her back on all of Queen's Quest, not just Momo.
Yeah, and like she would have still been some sort of authority figure in there as well as Stardom champion last year. And like she even gave Utami a shot of a belt last year, so there's still a relationship there. But I know, like this match, I like this match more on the potential it has more than rather what it is. It's sort of the New Mutants of wrestling matches. Well, like, I can see the good in there, but like it's not actually there.
It was. I think it's one of those that suffered from the hype that I've given it. Konami had an absolutely phenomenal 5-star. And I expected this to be all guns blazing. Utami's fantastic. Konami's fantastic. Saya Kamitani's come out of the 5-star as one of the most improved people in Stardom. Bee's back. Bee's full of, vigor. She's raring to go. And it felt there was portions of this that was a little bit slow. And I think if this was condensed into a 15-minute match, then it would be great. It would have been an 8. But there was just so much slowed down. I know you've got a team that is very, very much heel wrestlers. You've got Konami who wrestles a very submissive style. Submission style, not submissive style. Submissive style. It's a very different type of wrestling.
I don't even think that's wrestling.
And you've got B who naturally slows the pace down because she is a heel. But I don't know, there was something that didn't click for me, and it grated on me throughout the entire match. And I sort of flip-flop between a 6 and a 7 for this match, and I feel like just because of who is in the match, I should give it more. But I don't know, there was something that I didn't get in this match that I did get in the Black Widows MK Sisters match from night 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it feels like this was Utami and Saya on autopilot, but we're just doing their normal things.
Yes, yeah, it does. It does. It felt like that for all 4 of them, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whereas their other matches, they actually did things.
Yeah, I was just a little bit disappointed. Like I say, the finish didn't really bother me, and by the sounds of it, didn't particularly bother you, this one, because, it works.
It makes sense. It actually makes sense here, but, like, again, the impact this would have had is completely lost now.
Yeah, absolutely. They've sort of ruined it, haven't they? They've spammed it.
Like, I get to the end, and it's sort of like... it's like a means to an end. Instead of they're going, yes, this makes perfect logical sense, but I feel nothing.
Mm.
It's basically how I felt watching. Consult his list. It's basically how I felt watching the Wolverine.
I was just going to say, if you said Jurassic Park, I was hanging up.
No, the Wolverine, which is 41, where everything makes sense, but I'm not feeling anything.
Yeah. Hang on, the Wolverine is above fucking Jurassic Park?
Not Origins Wolverine, just the Wolverine, the one where he's in Japan.
It's
a good movie.
You are the worst kind of human.
What? Christ, it's like being back in school. All this over me not liking a movie as much as you do.
Fucking hell, Chris. There's not liking a movie as much as someone, then there's just been some flatly wrong.
I mean, like, but the reason I don't publicise this list, like, completely publicly, I thought you'd be supportive of, well, we're from different generations, maybe there's a generational divide. But you're like, nah, fuck you, young'un.
Yeah, absolutely never publish this list. Moving back onto Stardom. What did you give this?
I also flip-flop between a 6 and a 7, and again, I think the 7 is mostly just fair because of who's in it. Like, this is like one of those films that has one of those that sells itself from the cast and then like the plot and the delivers.
Nothing in this match was bad at all.
No, but nothing in this match was particularly got me going.
Nothing blew me away. Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things that I would put on, but I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah, this has the same thing to me as most Okada matches, where it's like, I can see where you wanted the pop to be, but there was no pop.
Colour me pop.
Don't stop reminding me. I just get a fucking flash. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's. I hate it.
We move on then to the main event, match 6, where Crazy Bloom, which is Julia and Micah, defeated MOMOAZ. Is that how you call it? Is that what you call it?
Momism.
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 I've become really paranoid now that I know that I've mispronounced Takumi's name. I'm really, really paranoid about it.
But here's like, I'm pretty sure, like, if they read my name for the first time, they'd call me O'Brien. In fact, most people who read my name for the first time do call me O'Brien, and I hate it.
Is it not O'Brien?
No, it's O'Brien. You know it. You introduce me every podcast.
Yeah, Crazy Bloom of Julia and Micah defeating MOMOAZ, which is Momo Watanabe and Azumi, at 14 minutes and 54 seconds with Enka Itoshi. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, Chris.
This was a really fun match. Skipping to the end just very quickly, Micah has a new... Well, I'm pretty... She might have used it before, but I don't remember using it. A new power finisher. And using it against Azumi was a good idea because it's the only time she'll actually look like a powerful person, because Azumi's tiny and Micah's about average sized. Micah's new gear, which I wanted to talk to you about because I think the old gear fit her character better, although I know in the long term it doesn't actually matter.
Her
like,
old gear,
no
I think... Yeah, there was no frills.
Like, no
it was
frill.
I'm rock solid. You ain't getting past me. That's
yeah,
all
for
wrestler.
Me, it was,
her new
it was
gear,
like Shibata or Suzuki for me.
Exactly. The new gear, I think, fits the aesthetic of Donna Del Mondo better.
I think it fits DDM better, but it doesn't fit Micah better.
Well, you weren't a fan of Utami's new gear either, were you?
Well, I wasn't a fan, but now, like, I can't it's like one of those things where now that I'm used to it, it's like when Okada went to the trousers, and like I hated it at first, and then I'm like, yeah, I can live with the trousers. I'm kind of there, like, because ultimately gear doesn't matter unless it's that fucking. Unless you're Def Yama-san, the gear doesn't really matter because, like, I'm not going to notice if the match is good. It's just something that, like, sprung to mind when I saw the new gear.
I liked what you said earlier about Micah hitting the power finisher. I mean, she has used the Enkaratoshi before quite a few times, but I do like... You talked last podcast about how Mike was trying to portray this powerhouse character, and she was potentially doing that against the wrong type of opponents. Utami.
She was definitely doing that.
Yeah, Utami
like
and Jungle. Exactly.
Because that's what she put out, like, especially that Spinebuster, because she couldn't get him up properly. But, like, with Azumi, like, she's going to bump around you and make it look great. So, like, it made perfect sense here. I'm finally starting to like Julia.
Yeah, I agree. I agree massively. And I know this is going to make a lot of people who listen to this podcast happy. Julia is quickly becoming one of my favourite things about Stardom.
She's not one of my favourite things, but, like, I'm now just, like, actively fine with her being there instead of, like...
actively fine.
Like... It's how I feel about Jurassic Park. She's for Jurassic Park. No, I'm kidding. She's better than Jurassic Park. But yeah, Julia going around the ring like a fucking house on fire. She's moving really fast, and again, a lot of her offense being like big boots. Like, I think it's because that start they overpushed her to sort of get her to that point, sort of like the same thing we did with Evil and like Okada back in the day in New Japan. And I'm sure Stardom was doing it, but I've only been watching the year, so like she's the first person to have that happen. And so, like, now we're on the stage where she's just being pushed like a normal person. I don't dislike it now, and actually, I kind of enjoy her when she's there. So, yay! I've changed my opinion. Some people may not let me let that go for the rest of my life now.
I did really enjoy the Julia and Momo exchanges, especially that Julia really picked up the pace to match Momo. And this I really enjoyed. There was a moment where Julia hit the Glorious Buster, but really sold the exhaustion of trying to keep up with Momo and wasn't able to cover and had to tag Micah in. Micah excelled in this match, like we said, playing the powerhouse character. I think she just needs to pick who she does it against. There was a superplex off the top rope, followed instantly by a stalling vertical suplex on Azumi. That looked nice.
That was great, but also I like to have this match. It escalated in such a way where superplex was actually a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely, and genuinely, you know, even though no one is ever finished off with a superplex anymore, I genuinely believe that will be the finish because it built to that.
It escalated in that way. It was like, for me, it reminded me of the old women's matches from older takeovers, like where if you wrote down what happened between the ropes, you wouldn't be blown away, but like it was paced in such a way where these fairly simple things meant something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like his Kenta Miyahara match. In a way. Stop it! He's one of the most prolific figures in Japanese wrestling. I'm going to compare in some way.
They did mention the postponed singles match from the original Yokohama show between Momo and Julia in the pre-match sort of promos, and it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to get a program between the two later on down the line, especially as there's 3 big shows and year-end Climax left this year. I would be completely down for that.
And I'm trying to remember who beat Julia in the 5-star.
Himika, and Himika's challenging.
Who's not going to challenge?
No, Himika is challenging at the next Korakuen.
Not this one. Not the one that just happened, the next one.
Yeah. And who else beat Julia?
Tam beat Julia, but she already had a challenge.
They were the only 2, weren't they?
Yeah, I checked my tracker, but that's on my old phone.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Momo, and I think if Julia and Momo have a match, that would be absolutely incredible.
Well, if she beats Momo, that would help establish her a lot, because Momo's sort of one of the best, well, the second best white belt champion after Arisa. So...
No, agreed. Micah did a lot of the heavy lifting in this match, and I think that's brilliant. Her and Azumi had a lot of really, really good chemistry. So yeah, really, really good match. I give it 8. Definitely the best tag league match, on night 1. But yeah, a really, really good way to end night 1, Chris.
I gave it a 7, partly because I was trying not to like overrate it just based on how like average the other two. Well, either clusterfucked or average. The other two were. It's definitely a great way to start the main event. These Stardom tournaments are a lot more about booking than they are about match quality. But this is a really fun, good match.
Yeah, absolutely. So we move on to night 2 then, which was the 11th of October from Shinkiba First Ring in Tokyo in front of 140 people. And we jump straight in to the tag league with MOMOAZ defeating Wingori, which is Saya Iida and Hannan at 8 minutes and 17 with the diving foot stomp. Wingori apparently is a name putting together gorilla, and the kanji for Hannan's name, which means southern wings. Also makes for a freaky as fuck Frankenstein's monster of a mascot. I don't know if you saw that.
I just call them the children in my notes.
Absolutely fucking terrifying mascot. This gorilla with angel's wings. Absolutely haunting.
I don't. I another thing to haunt me.
This was an unexpectedly really enjoyable match.
Yeah, but I didn't see that coming. But it's like up to that point, the second best match of the tag league so far, 4 matches. Like, because I haven't seen because I tend to skip, especially since it's the 5-star very recently. I tend to skip Hannan matches, so I haven't seen. She's actually gotten pretty good. I know she's like around the age Azumi was when she was getting good, so like, I should have expected that. But like for me, I still see that. I don't know if you're the same, Rob, but I think it's because I have nieces as well. If I see like a 16 or 17-year-old, I look at them and think, well, you're 12.
Yeah.
Like, as I get older, just like my way of telling people's ages gets more and more off. So like, I'll meet my niece's friend. It's like, why are you hanging out with like a first year? And she's like, well, she's actually like 25 or something. It's like, you're older than me. What? But that didn't actually happen. But yeah, like this is great. Hannan throwing drop kicks like she's the girl from Marvelous. Saya Iida desperately not wanting to go another tournament without getting an actual win. What I'd love is if Hannan got a pinfall over someone and then Saya Iida turns on her.
Imagine the scenes.
Yeah. Azumi and Momo are the perfect people to carry them. I liked because Momo didn't do a ton of this match, but what I really liked was Azumi getting more and more annoyed as Hannan wouldn't stay down.
I've put that basically Azumi especially suffered from a bout of overconfidence, and the more that overconfidence played into the match, the more near falls there were for Hannan. And eventually you could just see Azumi snap and just be like, do you know what? Fuck off! And she eventually finished her off with a diving foot stomp.
Yeah.
Fair play to Hannan and Saya Iida, by the way, for their tag team chemistry, because they managed to cut off Momo completely from Azumi and just work one isolated body part. They had a plan. They stuck to it. It worked.
Mm-hmm. And because both of them have fairly basic movesets, they meld together quite well. So they were surprisingly fluid in their movement. And you're right, the story is for Queen's Quest team getting too overconfident. It reminded me of back in the day. Be about 15 years old, was a video game club in school, and there was a Smash Bros. Melee tournament. This guy was showing off all these amazing moves, trying to show off, and then I just Falcon punched him and won the match. It was great.
It was a case of waiting for them to tire themselves out and then pin them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Hannan.
It's essentially the tactic I take when I'm looking after my nieces and I need them to go to bed. It's like, we'll get tired eventually and then I'll send them to...
But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I gave it 7 stars. I thought this was a great match.
Yeah, I gave it high 6 or 7. This is really good, especially compared to expectations, because Hannan's in it, who is really, how old is she? She's 16.
She is.
Just looked on Cage Match. So for her, someone rated a 4 out of 10. I don't think it's fair to rate underages on their abilities.
This was 2 years ago when she was 14, but yeah, I agree. It is a bit harsh.
Because there's two ratings, one now and one in 28. What someone said in 2018, she is very green. No shit.
She's 14.
She's 14 years old. Fucking Jesus Christ. Damn it, Riggs on Cage Match. To be fair, though, hang on, I need to get this up. I'll read it to you later on. It's the most wanky thing I've ever read on Cage Match. Anyway, continue.
Okay. Match 2 then was a 6-woman tag with the DDM team of Micah, Julia, and Natsupoi defeating Color Me Pop of Gokiken Death and Rio, and Wiener at 9 minutes and 55 with the Backlash. It was nice to see a different side of Julia here, Chris, a more relaxed character, easing into the fucking chaos that is Gokiken Death.
Yeah, they really had fun with it. By the way, I actually watched the entrance of this one, and that Natsupoi still has a stick. I'm really actually really happy about that because it's a statement. It says, "This is me," and
if you don't stop it,
can I get one? Can I please just get one in an episode?
I fucking hate you so much.
Oh, by the way, before I got the review up because it's insanely like it's about the Shizaki versus Kano match from a few months ago. Then hang on, I've lost it. There it is. I'm reminded of an instance a handful of years ago involving Jack from the YouTube wrestling news hub Cultaholic, a forum that is predominantly focused on the news and discussion of major wrestling companies, WWE, AEW, New Japan, etc. On the off chance they report on lesser known and infrequently discussed pockets of the wrestling world, they are often sloppy and inaccurate in their reports, such as Jack describing then recent Noah heavyweight Kano as a originant of Dragon Gate. Jack and Cultaholic at large were mocked by the small but vocal pure wrestling community for such a glaring oversight. While I understand, do you see how this has nothing to do with the match? I understand the outrage. In retrospect, I feel if this comment has aged quite well, as Keno is the most over-the-top thing to ever happen to the arc since Chris Hero. I'd like to thank Jack the Jobber of former What Coach and Notoriety for putting into words, intentionally or not, what wrestling is truly about. Match was all right, I guess. 5 out of 10. I don't I imagine he has an imaginary glass of wine there, which is definitely Schlur.
Why were you telling me that?
Because we were doing Cage Max and reminded me of it, and I've been meaning to show you it in every podcast since I read it, back in August, but I haven't had the opportunity. Anyway, we can continue.
Okay. I feel like I've just taken LSD. There was a moment where Julia physically sighs when she realises she's got to get in the ring with Death, which is really quite funny.
It's like she thought she was getting in the ring with
Rio.
Rio, and she's like, "Oh, good, I'll test my skills." Death, fuck.
Sake. Then there's a moment where they try and do this triple team submission on Julia, and Death tries to jump on Julia's back and just topples off, which makes Julia laugh in the middle of this submission. Oh my god, just ridiculous. We then get sassy Death when she does her thing in the corner. She susses the crowd and goes, "Death, yeah, my death." And it was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Never go that quiet again when doing the Death thing. That was really uncomfortable.
Death, yeah,
Stop it! Stop it! Oh my god! We just lost our entire view. Anyway, there's a point in this match where Death's in a camel clutch. I think it's Julia doing it. She still has the devil horns, which is cool, but then also she has sad clown, and I was like, oh my god, it's like fucking Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but dressed as Mr. I'm gonna be glitching out every single fucking death match because I can't handle it.
No, I understand that. It's a weird aesthetic. Let's be perfectly honest.
It's not even just how it's like she doesn't have any grasp of color theory.
I think the thing for me is it just looks like the cheapest clown outfit they could find at a Halloween store.
Does. It looks like one of those clown things you see in like Poundland going in the lead up to Halloween.
Do you know the thing that makes it worse? I
What?
genuinely find it really funny.
I don't. I find it really scary.
I think it's fucking hilarious.
It's so weird because I watch like some horror movies and like not even wince, right? Like and like the only horror movie I can recall that actually got under my skin was The Shining, and then this is too much for me.
You worry me. Any serious wrestling was left to Natsupoi and Riho, who had a really, really good high-speed chemistry.
Yeah, they probably put on the greatest show they could.
Natsupoi eventually sees off Rina with a cartwheel powerbomb, dubbed the Backlash, which is a really cool move. I gave it 4 because there's absolutely nothing to see apart from Death being fucking Death.
Do you remember when death matches were just average and now they're this? I don't know what's better.
Yeah.
I really hope she doesn't keep this the next year's 5-star because I don't think I could cope. Imagine if she won the Cinderella. Imagine if this fucking incarnation of death won the Cinderella.
Search your feelings, Chris. You know that is not going to happen.
Oh, I don't know anymore, man. Evil was the double champion earlier this fucking year. And
true.
Like, and the world is upside down because apparently the Fiend, which was really cool last year, is now lame, and I don't know how the fuck that happened. And we can't go outside anymore. 2020 is weird, and it's all fucking Gorkan Dav's fault.
Match 3.
There's also Killer Bees.
Black Widows defeated MK Sisters at 8 minutes and 27 seconds with the Kamigoye. Far more satisfying outing for the Black Widow team this week. This time, sorry.
Yeah, MK. By the way, every time we say MK, I just think of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I know. I think the same.
Yeah. My only problem with Bea Priestley right now is that literally all her finishing moves are like very, very overtly other people's moves. Like 2 of them fine, like the Regalplex and the Queen's Landing. They're fine. Those people aren't active anymore. Don't use the Kamigoye. It's like when fucking Gunner in TNA was using the F5. It's like, do you really think anyone is thinking of you when you do that? Like, as soon as Bea Priestley hits that, I'm like, oh, Kotabushi's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, they seem to find the chemistry that they were struggling with in the last match that we were talking about. And
yeah, but again, Bea getting the heat, which I also expected you not to enjoy. But again, it's a short match, so like, there's not a ton of heat still.
It's not that. It's the fact that Konami she wasn't in the match for a lot of it, and then Bea getting the win. It just seemed very strange that you would build Konami up as this massive heel and then have Bea take all of the credit.
Maybe they're waiting for her to like, and that suddenly she'll just suddenly break someone's neck or something.
Yeah. Konami and Mayu had great
like,
chemistry. Their brief interaction was
yeah,
great.
Well, of course we do. Yeah, Starlight's really good. I love Starlight jumping around the ring. She's like actually trying to take on Lucha influences, which is nice to see.
Yeah,
makes it
stand out. She adapted some of her offense as well really, really well. There was a satellite DDT for one, and then she countered a takedown from Bea into a co-breaker, which looked brilliant. She did that in the Yokohama Cinderella match against Azumi as well.
Mm-hmm. Like, Starlight's just getting... I think she might be... Is she the most improved? I'm trying to think if there's anyone more improved.
Well, Tall Saya, surely.
Yeah, but like... In terms of percentage, probably. But in terms of my enjoyment, no. Well, actually... I didn't enjoy Julia Otoa, now I do. Okay, so it's very crowded, the most... I like this match, Dave. This was a fun match.
We talked about Starlight and how improved she is in her offense. That ultimately proved a downfall. She had this satellite DDT, which took Bea down. She tried it again, and finally Bea actually caught her, stopped it, and then that led to the finish, the Kamigoye, which obviously topped it off.
They call it the Bea trigger.
Well, no, they don't. They call it the Kamigoye.
Oh no, it's the V trigger when she does like the Kamigoye into the V trigger, which is so much cooler and like helps set her apart. Why did she stop that?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a good match though.
Yeah, well, mate, Very quickly, though, May's super kicks are getting really, really, really good.
They are. They were really good in the Yokohama match against Suri.
Because I think it's down to how the person taking it sells it. Because like when we do the staggered leg, it actually feels like it connected. It's not like when like I don't like shitting on the Young Bucks. I do really like the Young Bucks, but a lot of their super kicks, the reason they got so over is because of the volume they hit, not quality.
Nah, I got that.
Like if May's kicks are Reese's peanut butter cups, then the Young Bucks super kicks are Smarties.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, you get less Reese's peanut butter cups for the amount you get for Smarties, but Smarties aren't as good. It's true that my friend sent me a box of Reese's peanut butter cups recently, so they're kind of on my mind.
Yeah, overall a far better match for Black Widows. Mayu and Starlight seem to be far more serious in this match. Overall, really, really good match. I cannot wait for an inevitable Konami Mayu match. Overall, really, really good. I give it 8.
I give it high 7, and I don't know what's. I think with a lot of these, it is the fact that the crowd can't make noise, and I get that's not the match's fault, but it still affects my enjoyment. I'm probably being too harsh.
Well, no, because it affected my enjoyment of this next match. Match 4, Dream H defeated Devil Duo at 12 minutes and 4 seconds with the GSS.
All right, very quick question about this match. Did you feel, because I kind of felt here that Mina and Tam didn't gel too well, like a lot of their tag team moves felt a bit forced.
It's a weird dynamic they're trying to get across. Basically, from their pre-match promo, they're trying to get across that, I don't know, it's almost like that Mina is this well-meaning, innocent person, and Tam is almost trying to take advantage of her. So this name, Dream H, she's told Mina that it means cute H, or something like that. And even though Mina can speak Japanese, she doesn't know what that means, apparently. But the English subtitles have helped us out here, because above Tam completely barefaced lying to Mina, it says that H is pronounced Echi, which is the first letter of hentai, and in many cases it also stands for sexual, perverted, horny. So
I fucking hate wrestling sometimes.
I think the entire thing here is that
is a hentai joke.
Yeah, is Tam trying to jump Mina Shirakawa. That's the entire meaning of this team by the looks of it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just need to laugh at this because I've clicked on Mina Shirakawa's cage match profile to see what people think of her. Because like the 3 matches she's had in 4 matches now she's had in Stardom, 5. The few matches she's had in Stardom. Like the only matches I've ever seen. So I was like, what are people's general impressions? Everyone voted 8 out of 10, except for one person who put 4 out of 10 after she joined Stardom. And the first one from last year's, the current best of Japan, best of body Japan women's champion, Mina, is drop dead gorgeous and surprisingly competent in the ring.
I think that's what this is. I think it's just a case of we're supposed to appreciate how good looking she is, but
I don't. That's not why I watch.
That's not why I watch wrestling. She's average at best.
Yeah, she's fine. Nothing's bad. Like, here's the thing. I definitely objectify wrestlers, and if you don't believe me, go listen to some of the old Young Lions. But Kota Ibushi. Oh my god. But anyway, but I don't watch Stardom for that. I watch Stardom because of the style, and it's very hard to argue that when you see how half some of the fans act. But like, genuinely, I do believe, because you go on our Discord and it's not at all like that. So I genuinely believe that they're playing to that audience because they're the most likely to spend loads of money. And I have very complex thoughts on idol culture, and at the very least, I don't like it as part of my wrestling. And I just hope she only has 2 years experience, and she started late. People have started late and got good. DDP, Batista. So she could get good. She's not bad, certainly. And she only has a couple of years of experience. And you've seen how quickly people have gotten better as soon as they joined Stardom. It happened with B. It happened with basically everyone in DDM. So I do hold out hope. But as it stands now, I don't like these 6 8 out of 10s on cage match. I'm not seeing it. I'm not at all seeing it.
The problem for me, I mean, this was an average match in every sense of the word, but at least there was a definitive ending, sort of. She's better as a babyface in peril than she is as the hot tag. And she seemed to be used as the hot tag in this match, which made no sense. She still does seem really green. I love the fact that...
Which again makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not a negative, but she does look green in this match. I love the fact that Tora was having absolutely none of her bullshit. Just kicking her and just going, fuck off. Just leave me alone. I thought that was great.
Is this the first time we've ever actually praised Tora?
Probably. That chain fucking made an appearance though, didn't it? Stupid fucking thing.
Oh my god. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so loud. Like, and at least like with Toriano and the tape is silent.
It's like someone's mic'd the chain up.
It is like someone, like, could they not have found a quieter chain? Because, like, I've dragged chains along before. They've never been that loud.
I liked the Tam and Shirakawa double team implant DDT, though that absolutely should have been the finish. That should have been the finish. Whatever the fuck the actual finish was, shouldn't have been the finish, because she got her up on...
Can I quit before we go on to finish very quickly? What got me was that weird push she does into the German. That was bad. That was really poorly timed.
There was quite a few moments where things were really poorly timed, and that's why I've said she looked a little bit green.
But I think it's not just that. I think her and Tam aren't gelling as a team, because like someone green can work really well with a veteran, but I'm not saying the Tam's not trying, but like they're not gelling at all, and I don't feel effort for them to gel.
They've had one match.
They have had one match, but like, I don't know, Konami and B are gelling fairly well after one or two matches.
No, because we've just gone on about how their first match, they didn't gel.
But then they did in the second match, and these two have already like actually fought, so like they do know each other's offense.
Nah, I think we need far more. I think we need at least another match to be able to see if the chemistry's there. It doesn't seem to be a thing for me the same way it is for you.
No, I don't know. I think it's just because like everyone else has sort of gelled fairly well, and this just sort of stands out more.
Quite a few of these have been teams already, though.
Yeah, but like the Stars team of Hannan and Saya did really well. And Hannan has about as much experience as Mina.
They were in the ring with Momo and Azumi. Let's not forget.
Yeah, but like they're in. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
And it's not. I'm not saying that because Tora and Saki are bad wrestlers. I'm not saying that at all. But Tora and Saki have to wrestle in a very specific style, as they are the main heel unit. So it is very difficult for them to carry them to this blinding match. Let's see how they go on against their next opponents, and we'll see if they've gelled any better. The thing that really annoyed me was the finish. The GSS. She got Saki up on her shoulders, and then I'm pretty sure it was botched, because I felt like Saki was supposed to take a back bump after a rotation, sort of like the Stormbreaker. But instead she just landed face first, which looked really fucking clunky. And it didn't seem like it had landed correctly.
I think it was meant to land like on her belly, like what Braun Strowman used to do.
What, the Yokozuka cutter? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, but I just don't think it was done that well.
It wasn't at all. You could tell. You could tell by the way Saki took it. It wasn't done right. It looked. It was one of those finishes that looked too convoluted.
Yeah, I don't like shitting on the new girl.
No, I'm not. You've shat on her more than I have.
I know, but I didn't enjoy it.
Her Luthez press is shit, though.
Oh, My God, and I was so scared that was going to be the finish. It seemed like something that would flash finish.
Yeah,
on.
it was fucking dreadful.
It's no jumbo shrew.
No, it isn't. However, one thing, let's end on a positive. Her theme is an absolute French disco acid trip banger.
I'm pretty sure that's licensed music. I've heard that somewhere before.
I'll take it. It's fucking class.
I mean, like, if I'm listening to that kind of music, I'm probably not going to remember where I've heard it, but I've heard it somewhere before.
Match. I gave that 5 because at least there was a finish in the Iida time match.
See, that's why I gave it a 10. No, no, I'm feeling like I have no strong feelings apart from negative ones, so I feel I should veer towards a 4, but I feel like I'm being mean. I'm just going to let you rate this.
Fair enough. So the main event then saw Grab the Top, which is Himeka and Syuri, defeat Aphrodite, Saya Kamitani and Utami, and the current Goddess of Stardom tag champions 14 minutes and 43 seconds with the running powerbomb. Now, Chris, this shouldn't be the thing I focus on, but bear with me. Saya does this quick squat as the bell rings and basically drops to the floor. Now, as this was happening, at the same time, it took me 3 attempts to pick a pen up off the floor. So I just want to just for
to be
parity.
Fair, you are quite tall.
I know, mate, but that's not the reason. Let's not mince words. That's not the reason. Honestly, she hit the floor and bounced back up. I was like,
To be fair, she's an athlete. It's her job to like being like peak physical condition.
Even so, mate, 3 attempts.
I thought you were going to make like a WAP joke for a second because that's what we do, like the WAP.
I fucking hate that song. Absolutely hate that song.
It's a good meme song. It's a really good meme song. Like, honestly, I think the people who like actively hate it don't like. It's nothing to actively hate, in my opinion. Like, it's a dumb sex song. How many of them have we had in all of pop music history?
I'm not going to bite because I have very, very, very aggressively anti-WAP thoughts, and I'm not going to get into that here.
Literally my fucking, like, music, like, business and history is literally my fucking degree, so I'm willing to argue on this.
Anyway, I'm not going to do that here. We'll do that later.
in the group chat, so Garth can get involved.
Far better outing for Aphrodite, same as it was for Black Widows. Even if this match was Battle of the Screams between Kamitani and Syuri. Good grief, that got loud.
They are both expressive to the point of being distracting. This was really good. I do like the battle of hosses between Utami and Himeka. Especially since Himeka has a bit of an axe to grind.
I love the fact that they picked up where they left off in the Yokohama Cinderella show with the whole clothesline off.
Yeah, it's sort of like one day one of them will win, but not today.
Talk about Syuri's Ozcutter, where she jumps onto the ropes and you are absolutely terrified that she's just going to slip and fall straight through the ropes. But she does eventually get a balance back and hit it. But certainly not as clean as the first night.
No, not at all.
Basically, it was a very, very good match. Far better than the Black Widows match. There was a definitive finish. Very surprising that the tag champs haven't won either of their first 2 matches. I enjoyed Saya, but the screams started to grate on me a little bit.
Was it as bad as Cinderella for you?
No. Even Syuri's not as bad as Cinderella for me. That really did wind me up. But there was a story here with Saya. She's basically, she's got history with Himeka from the 5-star and, of course, from the tag team match at Yokohama. And she attempts to go full-on gung-ho and try and match Himeka beat for beat. And that opening exchange, it causes her to lose that opening exchange, and then ultimately trying to go gung-ho at Himeka causes her to lose the match as well. And I thought that was a really nice wrinkle. I thought it was interesting that considering the move that finished off the tag team match at Yokohama, she didn't even attempt to hit here. Utami, again, looked great. Did drop Himeka on her head, with a sidewalk slam, which looked very, very uncomfortable.
To be fair, like I think people are still sort of like it's been a few months, but I think people are still adjusting to working with someone as tall as Himeka.
Yeah, I get that because I mean Utami isn't small, but Himeka is definitely the taller one.
She's not exceptionally tall though. How tall is Utami? Utami is cage match. Oh, she's 5'5", so she's about the same height as Garth, and Himeka is 5'7", so they're actually not that far apart. They just because it's amazing because like Himeka looks massive. It's like how when you see like the stats of Big Show next to someone, it's like he's not that much taller, but Big Show just dwarfs him still.
Yeah,
somehow.
Exactly. You look at some of these, like you look at Mayu, and Mayu looks really tall, and you actually look at how tall she is, and we are both considerably taller.
She's 5'4". Well, yeah, but like we're considerably taller than everyone on the roster.
That's true. That is true.
Like that's not really a fair comparison.
No, it's not.
When like if we compare, like I think Garth's a fair comparison. Like not to be mean, he's just shorter. And like Garth is like an inch taller than Himeka. So
I think he's got to that point in his age where he just sort of starts receding in height.
Does that actually happen? I know Hulk Hogan got shorter, but that's apparently because he fucked his spine doing leg drops. Or at least that's what he says.
Of course, it's what he says.
It's like, yeah, bro, I used to be 6'4".
What did you think of this match?
I enjoyed it for much the same reasons you do. I like that Saya isn't going for the
Phoenix Splash.
I forgot what it's called. Yeah, for the Phoenix every match. I like that as a sort of to finish big matches, secondary finisher type thing. But I do think she needs a better finisher than the running shooting star. It's a weird middle ground that I'm feeling here. Himeka continues to be just great. Shuri, some of those kicks she throws, always great. Very expressive, as we've already touched on. Utami, it's weird because, like, for me, Utami was like the least interesting part of this match, and she's easily my favorite wrestler out of the three, out of the four rather. So I don't know. She sort of took a back seat apart from when she was doing her clothesline off with Himeka. But I did like the story of both Shuri and Himeka have an axe to grind with Utami because she's the reason both of them are out of the 5-star. And then Saya, like everyone has an axe to grind here, and it makes for something interesting. What I don't get though, because I'm looking on the because for me this is easily the match of the tag league so far. And it's not recommended on Cage Match, but the Mina Shirakawa tag match from before is.
Not the one I'm looking at.
On mine, like not enough, not recommended for that tag match, but not enough votes for a total rating, which means it isn't recommended match guide on Cage Match.
Yeah, I think that's because more people have gone in to absolutely slag it off. You look at the one comment, it's not exactly a glowing indictment of Shirakawa, is it?
I like that Tamakano and Natsukatora basically took a night off.
Yeah, well, they've taken a couple of months off, let's be honest.
Natsukatora, what's she done all year? Well, I guess, Cinderella. But I fucking hated the Cinderella. Let's continue.
So, overall then, Chris, I gave that a high 7. I don't think I can give it any higher.
I gave it a high 7 too. Really fun. I do like the running powerbomb starting to get a bit better. Like, because before, like, it seems to just be more of a height thing than a actual impact thing. Now there's getting some impact in there, which I do enjoy. It's the problem a lot of people have with falling powerbombs, actually, unless you're Kawada, in which case you're just going to drop them on their head. But yeah, but there's nothing, like, this is a solid match I just recommend people watch, but you don't need to. It's actually the same what I feel about basically everything. It's like, but it's all really fun if you watch Stardom, but it's not going to convince you if you're on the fence about Stardom.
There's going to be nothing that enters our match of the year poll at the end, is there? Let's be honest.
No, but like, tune in next week. I haven't seen the result of the match, but I'm sure it was great.
Yes, yeah, for Takumi Iroha, yeah, absolutely.
I have great anxiety over saying it now because it's just how I say
just
it
say
now.
Takumi.
I'm just used to saying Ahara. Like, that's just what I'm used to.
Especially at the start of the podcast, it took me ages to get it out because I was like, I know it's not Ahara, it's Iroha. So hopefully, Velkish, we've got it right.
I Aroha.
Okay, you done?
No.
So the current standings at the end of night 2, we've got Black Widows heading the pack with 3 points, Julia and Micah with 2, Colour Me Pop 2, Dream H 2, Grab the Top 2, MOMOAZ 2, Aphrodite 1, Wing Gory 0, Devil Duo 0, and then MK Sisters 0 as well. Couple of things I wanted to talk to you about come the end of the podcast, Chris. First thing is, who do you like to win the tournament? Now that we know that the rules are actually completely different to what we initially thought they were, who do you think are the 2 finalists? Who do you think wins?
I'm still feeling good about either a Wedatai team of B and Konami winning, or possibly, if I'm going to pick an outsider, Mayu and Starlight would be cool. But for the most part, I think it's either going to be, for me, the DDM team of Himika and Shuri, or the Moedatai team of B and Konami.
So I agree with you. Let's just have a look very quickly, because if they're in the same block, they won't meet in the final. So B and Konami, Shuri and Himika are both in the same block, so it won't be them in the final. I have a feeling that we're going to have, if we're going B Konami in the final, which I do think, I think they're probably the favourites. You look at Red Block, the people that they are, you've got Mayu and Kids, Saya Iida and Hannan, Utami and Saya, Julia and Micah, Natsuka Tora and Saki. It's not a really deep pool of teams there. I mean, Julia and Micah, maybe?
That'd be good.
But, I mean, Micah's only just had a shot at the championships.
True, but look how many times Utami got a shot earlier in the year.
I mean, ultimately, do you have Utami and Saya win it and then take on B and Konami? I mean, we've just had that match. That might be why it went to a draw.
Maybe. You never know. You can never call Stardom to.
I mean, you look at the blue block. There are 3 bona fide winners there: Momo and Azumi, Shiori and Himika, and B and Konami. All 3 of those, if they had been in different blocks or some manner of different alignments, then each of those have a chance of winning. But I think because B and Konami are in that block and everything that they've done with Konami, it would make sense for them to win. I see them winning against Utami and Saya in the final.
Yeah, that would be good.
We'll be back next week then with the show from Ishikawa on the 17th, and from the Korakuen show as well from the 18th, which, as we've already said, was main evented by Mayu and Takumi, which is apparently their 4th match. I didn't realise. There was a couple from before.
Yeah, there was a few from before this year, but I've only seen the one from this year, and it's so good. Watch that before next week as well, because I want to.
I'm deliberately watching it next week so that I can compare the 2. Absolutely.
Good, thank you. Finally, it's only been literally the whole fucking year.
Before we sign off, then, Chris, the G1 Climax Final was today. I'm not going to spoil it because that's not fair on anyone that watches New Japan and hasn't watched it yet. The reason I've brought it up is because it's announced that WrestleKingdom is going to be, yet again, another 2-night show on the 4th and the 5th. Obviously, last year we had a Stardom exhibition match. It was untelevised, which is a shame, but we did have that Stardom match. My question to you, Chris, is, if Stardom have one match on this WrestleKingdom card, which, with it being 2 nights, I think is far more likely than it would be if it was one, what match do you have? Who is in it?
Oof. Well, you have 2 options. You can do what you did last year and take sort of your 4 big pillars, which now 2 of them are gone. It's really... I was actually thinking about it earlier, how much different the landscape is going into this tag league as it was going into last tag league. It's fucking insane. But you can do like your showcase, or you can do your title match. Having your title match in another promotion might be seen as bad, but also like WrestleKingdom's had Triple Crown defenses before, so I personally would go for a red belt defense with Mayu, assuming she's still champion at the time, taking on. You can't spunk a good one up the wall because really at the end of the day you're not drawing. So maybe Mayu versus B rematch if you want heels, because B's now known to the New Japan audience.
That's what I was going to... Don't forget as well, that match from Wrestle Kingdom wasn't televised. And if that's the case, do you want a red belt defense on a show that's not going to be televised? Assume that it's not going to be televised.
Oh, we're assuming it's not going to be televised. Yeah, go for another tag match. Go for Stars versus... Well, because you need Mayu in there because she's your... so, like, go for Mayu and Tam versus Julia and Shiri or something.
I agree to a certain extent. I think they will have an exhibition tag. I think it's just an easy way to expose people. You don't want something that's got too much storyline in either, because obviously people who aren't fans of Stardom aren't going to know the storylines. So...
Also, Wrestle Kingdom weekend tends to have satellite shows, and Stardom did have a satellite show last time.
Yes, it did. I mean, I'm trying to work it out now. I mean, it would make sense to have B there, especially after her announcing herself to the New Japan crowd during the A Block final. I think...
And also our boy came down from the mountains.
Oka, the great Okan, my boy!
Like, literally, I think that's literally it reinvigorated our love of New Japan more than anything the G1 did.
Fucking great Okan, I love that man.
I haven't seen him. Only seen him wrestle once all year, but you know what? It was a bad match, but I still love it.
I think you've got to have Julia in there. So what you could have is Mayu and another, could be a Tam, could be a Momo, taking on Julia and B.
Oh, so like have representatives from each... Well, there's 5 factions.
There are 5 factions, but there are also an even number of people in a match unless you do a triple threat, in which case you're going to miss 2 out.
Or you could do a 6-man and have everything mixed up.
You could have a 6-man. 6 women are inherently less entertaining than tag team matches, though.
Yeah, you could have a 4 corners match.
But then again, you're going to miss one faction. Oh, no, you're not. No, because TCS is gone.
Oh, TCS is gone. Oh, I'm still not over it.
So that is right, yeah.
So, yeah, just have
So Mayu and Momo
so have a Queen's
versus Julia and B actually works.
Yeah, because it's better than having Tora.
Well, Tora's not going to go there, is she? Yeah, no, we don't allow chains in the Tokyo. Gets taken off by that beeping machine, the metal detector. That beeping machine, fucking hell. My head just went there. I couldn't remember what it was called.
To be fair, I had that the other day. It's like, I was like, what are those big cars that take things places?
A bus.
No. It was a van. But what's even worse, I had that brain fart in front of my 11-year-old niece, and she was like, "It's a van," and I'm like, "Don't you start getting fucking sassy with me, little shit."
My only thing with that is, do you replace Momo with Utami? I personally wouldn't.
No, she's the lead. Momo's the leader.
I think if Jungle wasn't as badly injured as he was, I think Jungle would be in there as well. But you've got representatives from each one. You've got 2 heels and 2 faces, or sort of faces anyway. I think you've got to have those 4. They're your 4 best. Well, 3 best, and I don't think B's on that level, but she's good.
and Bushi.
She's good. She's just not on a Momo or a Mayu level, is she?
Well, no, B's a good heel. She's a good obstacle, but she's not a Momo. She's not a May. She's definitely not a Momo or a May. She's probably just below Julia. I say just below Julia. Julia's get a lot better.
Absolutely.
But B's not there, and that's no disparagement on B. You take basically anyone from AEW or WWE, and they wouldn't be on the level of those 3.
Agree. Unless they just decide, you know what, colour me Pop her over, just put colour me Pop in.
No. Two very good reasons. One, they wouldn't put a freelancer on their showcase, would they? They want to showcase people who may have lockdown. Two, no, none of this. Why?
Anyway,
we can't let her go feral in the Tokyo Dome.
It'd be like Izuka.
I
know you don't. Anyway, boys and girls, boys and girls. Fucking hell, this is my teacher thing coming out. Jeez, it's because I was working before I came on to do this. Oh my god.
I think it's also because clowns.
It's been a weird podcast. It's been a weird podcast, and not only because we've been battling lag like you wouldn't believe.
Oh yeah, it's been
awful this episode, so we apologise for that. Anyway, we will be back next week, hopefully with better internet connectivity than this week, but we'll be back next week to review nights 3 and 4, hopefully review that absolute banger between Mayu and Takumi, and we will be updating you on the Goddess of Stardom standings. We'll also have more details next week about our Stardom End of Year Awards. We had unanimous support for doing our End of Year Awards for Stardom, so we will be putting out those.
I've never seen a 100% poll on Twitter. I've never seen a 100% poll on Twitter.
No, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate that. So we'll be getting those out. I just want to talk to Chris about how we're going to do the show of the year and things like that, obviously with End of Year Climax being one of the biggest shows and that being on the 26th of December. So we'll wait and see how we're going to do that and when we're going to release the categories and the options and things like that. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast absolutely anywhere. Please go subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. It really does help the podcast out. You can talk to us on Facebook, Twitter at StardomCast. Go check out the website, www.podmania.co.uk. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Chris, where can they find you?
At Emma Stone.
We'll be back next week, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.